Imagine you're walking down a dark alley late at night when you hear footsteps behind you. Your heart starts thumping, your senses sharpen, and a surge of energy courses through your body. This instant reaction is thanks to cortisol, our body's natural alarm system, and the hormone responsible for stress, an evolutionary adaptation that enables us to experience fight or flight. Now, however, it is the silent killer of the 21st century and something that no one can avoid. We live in a society which keeps us in a state of stress from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. We worry about work, traffic, we stress about stresses and stress and more stress, and this excessive amount of cortisol can lead to weight gain, heart attacks, strokes, and even death. However, there is some good news. Stress can easily be minimized by making mindful practices a daily routine, such as deep breathing, journaling, yoga, and exercise have all been proven by countless studies to reduce the feelings of stress and anxiety and improve our feelings of being present. I have, however, learned the hard way with my own personal experience with stress, and I never really thought about how it affected my mind or my body or the impact it was having around people around me. Unfortunately, whenever I went through a traumatic experience that led to stress like no other, I eventually started to internalize the feelings of stress, and then they externalized whenever they developed as an inguinal hernia. This is literally a protrusion of my intestine through my groin, which looked like a hard-boiled egg that was poking out of my skin. And I looked in the mirror every day for a year and a month, and I thought to myself, that is stress. All that stress that I've been bottling up my entire life came to the surface and pushed out. And that is when I realized that I need to start looking after my own mental well-being, that or else my physical well-being is going to deteriorate, and those around me are also going to unfortunately suffer the effects. So how do we do this? We practice breathing. We slow everything down for a little bit. We take some big deep breaths now and again when we feel like our heart is racing, because we calm ourselves and we remind ourselves that there is no lion out in the dark and we're not in the hunter-gatherer era. We can be okay if we can become more present. One really good practice that I often do whenever I'm feeling heightened levels of stress is I breathe in deeply and as deep as I can for 5 seconds. I then hold it in my stomach for 5 seconds, and then I breathe out for 5 seconds. To keep me on track with how many times I'm doing this, I use my fingers. So this is my first go, and I go for 5, then I hold it in here for 5, and then I exhale for 5. Once you do one, you put one finger down, and then you go on to the next. So you breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and out for 5. Once you've done that 5 times, you'll notice that your heart rate should have dropped, and you might start to feel a little bit more present. Controlling our breathing is one of the most underrated but heavily researched and fascinating topics there is. So today's task is very simple. Breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and breathe out for 5. And do that 5 times. And compare how you feel before and after. Thank you for breathing, and thank you for joining.